Hello there, I'm Scotty, you're not, and welcome to Jack Black Week. And we're today looking at Saving Silverman. I'm doing these in chronological order, so from when they came out. Saving Silverman is the first one on our docket. Coming out in 2001, I believe. Let me get back up and look it up. DVDs 2001. There it is. 2001. It's starring Jason Biggs, Jack Black, Steve Zahn, Amanda Peet, and Amanda Detmer. Tells a story of Darren, played by Jason Biggs, who then starts dating this woman named Judith. However, Judith is very controlling and won't let Darren do anything he wants to do, only what she wants to do. So his two friends, JD and Steve Zahn, I forget the other guy's name. His two friends, played by Steve Zahn and Jack Black, decide a plan to kidnap her, so they have time to set him up with his high school love, played by Amanda Detmer. So there's your plot synopsis for this film. So this is when I caught on like the cable channels back in the mid 2000s, like on like HBO and Showtime type things. Sometimes they played on like Comedy Central and stuff too. And I bought the DVD at a pawn shop. Apparently there's like an unrated version. I don't know. There is a Blu-ray. I don't know if I'd get Blu-ray for this. This is a good movie though. So we start with like a flashback showing, well, it's narrated by Steve Zahn's character. And right away, I'm going to tell you this. I've never been a big fan of Steve Zahn. I think he's good in Joyride. It's the only movie I like him in because he's funny. I know Hard Justice with your host Bill Curtis. I think he's funny in that film. He balances perfectly with Paul Walker's seriousness. And it works. Here, though, he and Jack Black are on screen a lot together, and they're both the comedic characters. And I compare it to Will Ferrell. When Will Ferrell is with some other comedic people like Vince Vaughn or like Old School, right? He's with Vince Vaughn and Luke Wilson. Luke Wilson is the straight man in this, right? And you got Vince Vaughn trying to be funny, but Will Ferrell then has to outdo Vince Vaughn. And when Will Ferrell tries to outdo someone, it's terrible. Because he's not funny. Because the way that Will Ferrell outdoes someone is that he decides to get louder and louder and louder. And that's not funny, it's annoying. Steve Zahn doesn't go there, so I got itch on my face. Steve Zahn doesn't get that bad, but he still tries to outdo Jack Black. Everything Jack Black does, Steve Zahn tries to outdo. There are points in this film that I was like, ugh, with Steve Zahn, because it's just, I don't know. He goes too much. Sometimes. Yeah, like I said, Jason Biggs' character, Darren, the three of them are all big Neil Diamond fans. Dressed up like Neil Diamond. They have a cover band. They sing in the songs. And they're out one night and he goes to hit on Judith. She doesn't want anything to do with him. And right away, though, the way your attitude is, if I was there, and I would have just kept walking away. Even though you have Kyle Gass, the other part of Tenacious D, which I don't know if it was a thing yet, but he sits down at the thing that, you know, guys that hit on you. He goes, I have magic. He's like the two, the rings is like, you and me. I'm like, okay, that's so funny. But like, then Darren shows back up again to apologize. She goes, this is my boyfriend, Darren. And then they just start going out, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, I get rid of him, but you were a bitch to me, so I want to go back and hang out with my friends where I'm wanted, not just because you want to get rid of another creep. But no, they end up going out, and she is totally controlling. Like, totally controlling. Like, there's nothing. Like, he can't do anything. Nothing. Like, they go to this. Okay, so they go to a football game. They go to watch a football game, together. She goes with them with the other two guys. And there's an incident where, like, she accidentally gets, like, nacho cheese on her. And that's one thing. Okay, you can get upset with that. But, like, they celebrate. They start doing the thing. And she gets all pissed, like, we're leaving now. And it's like, okay. I'd be like, okay, you're leaving. This is fun. I'm sorry, but, like, she can't have fun. I understand that she got some nacho stuff accidentally done her, but it was an accident. All right? You're hanging out with your boyfriend's friends, and this happens by accident. You're going to want to cool it off. You're not going to freak out. She wants nothing to do with these two. She's not even trying. That's how much that she is against everything that Darren wants to do, because she's not even trying. I think at this point she's just looking for an excuse. Why Darren doesn't break up with her, I don't know. Here comes the monkey wrench in the situation. A girl that Darren used to like in high school, Sandy, played by Amanda Detmer, shows up. And so the other two, they get the idea, hey, why not try to put them together? So he tries, Steve Zahn's character tries to talk to her, and she's like, well, I'm going to be a nun. He's like, shit. So now what I got to do? So they kidnap Judith, put him in their garage, and then they say that she's gone, she disappeared, whatever, and then tries to hook up Darren with Sandy. And right away, I think if this was meant on purpose, because there was so much non-connection between him and Judith that when he and Sandy are on screen together, they have such a big connection that it's just like they work. And it works. It works. Now, like I say, the comedy, the whole scene when they're trying to kidnap Judith, half works. Can you guess which half? That's right, the Jack Black half. He comes in, and he's got like these pantyhose on his head. You can see who he is, but she's somehow surprised to know that it's them later. I don't know. But like Steve Zahn's all in war paint. And he comes in, he's like, ha! With a gun, and she kicks it and ends up shooting himself in the leg. Now he could just pass out, but he passes out for like a minute and a half, wakes up, and then decides he's gonna do this. Oh, I got a sleepy leg, and he's gotta exaggerate like this. Because we gotta try to be funny, and I'm just going. This is not funny. I don't know. And then he gets knocked down again. Eventually, they're able to kidnap her. JD gets his head stuck in the freaking toilet, Jack Black does, which is funny. Get a swirly with the pantyhose on his head. Take her back in the thing, and then they tell JD, hey, you have to dress up like the bird mascot. For some reason, she didn't recognize his face with the pantyhose, although you could tell it's Jack Black. I don't know. But, so he gives her food or whatever, and she's able to figure out that it's him because he's an idiot, which I did laugh at because it's a Jack Black thing. She's like, oh, you don't know JD? Nope, never heard of the guy. Okay, see you later, JD. Okay, see you, Judith. Shit. And this other figured out. There's also a subplot with their former high school coach, played by Arlie Ermy. I forgot was in this movie, and he went to jail because he overreacted on a foul call from a football referee. So he's been in jail, and so they go to see him for like his court hearing thing, and then he shows up at their house later after getting out because the lawyer was a sports fan, I guess. But yeah, and then he's pulled into this whole thing. If I had to question this, I think it's question something here. It's the joke. There's a joke in this that I don't think they do nowadays. It's one of those things you look back and you go, okay. So Judith has a talk with JD and gets him to realize he's gay. And I'm just like, what are we doing? He's like, no, I'm gay. And Steve Zahn's like, no, you're not. You have a hard time. You have a hard time with women. No, it's because I'm gay. And I'm just like, where are we going with this? And where we go with it is probably even worse than this joke. He's like, man, and I like the this and that stuff that you get, and I like sucking. You done that? No, but I don't know. No, we give it gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse. So Steve Zahn tries to offer her she gets out and she gets to the police station, but he tranks her, which I thought was funny. He covers with a tarp and cuts me. I was like, "Hey, police officer, I got a wild goat and dangerous goat, and I protected you." And they're like, "Hey, thanks," and they walk off. And okay, that's a funny Steve Zahn moment. And but then they ruined it by doing the thing where he can't lift her. I'm like, oh, come on. Really, we're doing this? But he does get her back tied up. And then, she does the seduction. She tries to do the same thing with him as she did with JD, where, she tries to convince him he's gay, but he's like, I'm not gay. I just have a hard time with women. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. And this is when the coach shows up and everything. And, he's feeding her this burger sandwich or whatever that she wanted before. And they, have some kind of connection going on here. And drips the sauce in her cleavage. And so, he wipes it up and she's like, licks it up. And then they're, making out. She's like, all these chains. And he's like, I can't undo you. And she's like, just give me one hand. So one hand, she starts giving them a hand job. And, you don't see it, of course. But, then someone's ringing the doorbell. JD won't answer it because he doesn't answer the door when he's eating. That's a good idea, but I kind of have to because I live alone. There's no one to answer the door. So if I'm eating and no one answers the door, then the door's not getting answered. But, it's the coach. And JD's like, you can stay with us. And he said, what are you thinking? Girl like us. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that slipped your mind, didn't it? So then he said, oh, you can't use the toilet. So he just takes his shit in the yard and using, their mail to wipe his ass, I guess. But because he ran off so quickly, he left the keys with Judith. So she's able to get out. So instead of going straight to the cops like she did last time, she goes straight to Darren, who at this point has decided he wants to be with Sandy. And this is where, for me, the movie goes. He goes from a solid, decent film to. Because this should have been the end of the film. She shows up, is like, oh my god, I was kidnapped. And, she's like, oh, well, I didn't know where you were, but you know what? I'm over you. I'm in love with Sandy, and we're going to get married, and I don't need you anymore. You're controlling. This time apart has made me realize that you're controlling. You won't let me do what I want to do. But Sandy, she loves me for who I am. She doesn't care what I do. And so they should just run off and we can cut to the wedding. But no, this movie has to be a little bit longer. So instead he takes Judith back for no fucking reason other than to elongate the wrong time. And another thing I don't get, when JD and Steve Zahn show up to, front them, to kind of explain what's going on, he beats the shit out of Steve Zahn, which made me laugh. I was just like, why is he doing this? I don't understand the writing here. You'd think being away from a controlling bitch for the last week would have made him realize how happy he is without her. But no, we have to have this whole cliche with romantic comedies where it's like the last second at the wedding, if anyone here knows why these two should not be married, speak up and roll your piece cliche bullshit. When it should have ended here. How long is the movie? I gotta grab the case quick. The movie is 92 minutes. I think this is an extra 10 minutes that's tacked on with this ending. 82 minutes, not that bad of a length for a movie. I'm just saying. No, we gotta have at least 90 minutes of runtime, right? So, yeah. No, instead, he decides he's going to marry Judith, and Sandy goes off to become a nun. Okay, but they're not done fighting for this. So, they go to jail. They call the coach and say, hey, coach, you need to bail us out. Instead of paying money like he should have, he breaks them out of jail, which is going to be a problem when we get to the end. But breaks them out of jail. And then they kidnap Neil Diamond and are going to the wedding to stop the wedding from happening. And they use Neil Diamond to save the day, which they do. However, the coach jumps out of the truck because he's like, oh, the coppers. I'll get rid of them. The cops weren't even... There's no siren. They're not even chasing after him. But he's going to jump out anyway and shoot at them. They reach the wedding. And Neil starts singing, hello again. Hello. And this is when Darren realizes, I love Neil. And I love Sandy. And I don't want to marry you. And so he decides to go with Sandy. She's like, well, what am I supposed to do? And then Steve Zahn shows up, and I do get a kick out of this because he just assumes she's gonna come right into him. It looks like she is, but then she takes a chair and just beats the shit out of him with it. Did you think that I would actually be with you? And then they end up kissing anyway, and it's like, okay, so they're gonna be together. And they do this thing where they knock each other's teeth out, and when they get married, they had missing teeth. Couldn't have fixed it before the wedding. I don't know. And then this is the part of the gay joke that really wouldn't hit. Like, the coach is somehow there, even though he jumped out miles back. And he tells JD, he goes, so when you gonna get hit? He goes, never, I'm gay. I'm like, well, you could still get gay if you're hitched. And then the coach says, really? Me too. And I'm like, Arlie Ermy just said he was gay. And yeah, there's a wedding. All three couples get married. I'm like, this did not age well. They would not. This is one of those typical gay jokes that you'd have in early 2000s films that they thought was funny. It's like, oh hey, the joke is he's gay, and I like it. No, it'd be even funnier if the coach was gay too. No, not really. But I don't hate this film. There's a lot of things that I like. There's some things I don't like. So that means that when it comes to Saving Silverman, it sits firmly in the middle of the road. So there's that, and that's the beginning of Jack Black week. We're on the road to Jack Black, I guess. Next up, Shallow Hal. So look forward to that. And like I said, we're going in release order, I guess I should say. So starting with this, ending with Tropic Thunder, I believe. So 7 movies, 1 week. And then when this is done, I will do a ranking. Then I have an announcement, which might be its own separate video, about what I'm doing for the theme for September, which will be the final theme thing. It's not a week. It's going to be more than a week. So let's beware of that. Because I have something planned. I'm also waiting for some movies to come in the mail, and they were just like sent out today or soon from when I'm recording this. By the time you see this, though, I might have them. So most likely. So what are your thoughts on Saving Silverman? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.